And so with this practice, although a good chunk of it is in stillness, I want to encourage you to know that there's no right or wrong way to move when we do come to movement. And that actually the more that you can drop the mind, the more likely that you'll be able to allow the body to move spontaneously without your direction. So that being said, with this spontaneous movement can also come spontaneous sounds. And so although we're filming here today, that doesn't mean that you can't make noise. If anything, I encourage you to sigh, especially is a very common one, or to flutter your lips, or just shake the body or anything, and we'll come to that. But even actually, let's do it right now. We'll just start to shake the body like you're bacon sizzling on a pan. And you can take some big inhalations through the nose and exhalations out of the mouth. Maybe you stick out your tongue, or you massage your face, shake the feet, shake the hands. And slowly that shaking becomes a bit more quiet. You can take some big inhalations and exhalations here as you slowly sink into the presence of your being. You can feel as though each exhalation the body softens. It releases its grip on the day. Whether we're aware of it or not, the mental patterns that our mind has throughout the day get held inside of the body. And likewise, the same stories that circle our person, that have become accepted about us as individuals, our stories about our life, our stories about our memories, these too get held inside of the body. So with either a soft or heavy breath, whatever feels natural in this moment, feel as though with each exhalation you empty out. With each inhalation you bring in this emptiness. And with each exhalation you let go of the stories, of the holding, of the resistance, the attachments, desires, seeking, plans for tomorrow, memories of yesterday. Empty, 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 empty. And again, there is no right or wrong here. Don't let your mind tell you that soft breath means one thing or heavy breath means another. Come into a state of total not knowing. As much as possible, experiencing this moment as if it's the first moment you've ever experienced in your entire life. And with this fresh curiosity, turn your attention momentarily towards sensation, however it manifests for you. And explore sensation as if it were your first time. What is it? With the eyes closed, it has no form, no shape. It's just the kind of sparkling of experience. Sometimes dense and heavy, other times light, or barely even there. Noticing thoughts, emotions, persistent stories. We make no effort to change them or get rid of them. They're just simply noticed. And establishing yourself as the pure perceiver. You are not this mind, you are not this body, you are not these stories, these memories. You are the witness. And let your attention slide down to the area of the heart. And here you are open and accepting of whatever you perceive. Strong sensations, subtle sensations, no sensations at all. Doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong, bad or better. Just the area of the heart. And if stories or thoughts around them, around the heart kind of rise, we acknowledge them, but we don't engage. We don't invest. We don't try to solve or do. And then we root back into the area of the heart. Some of the first activity in the womb when we were first created as a body was the simple beating of the heart. Before any neurons were fired in the brain, before there was even activity in the brain, the heart was already beating. For many of us, when we say I or me, it's to the chest that we point, not to the head, not to the knees, not to the toes. What is it that intuitively knows that this is our source? Allow any remaining identification to be pulled into the area of the heart. Thoughts, stories, emotions. Offer them to the sacred heart like you're offering them to an altar. The heart is this doorway, a sacred portal between the infinite and the finite. It holds the secret to the union between our formless nature and the nature of form, between our divinity and our humanness. And the further we explore the heart, the more clear it becomes that we can never land. We'll never find one place where we can say, this is me truly. For the heart is beyond all things and yet within all things. We point to the center of our chest, but the heart is everywhere. I'd like to introduce to you two sacred points in the realm of Kashmir Shaivism. The first point is in the center of the chest, but about 2 finger widths or even an inch into the heart, kind of behind the sternum. And really, my directions may mislead you. You will intuitively find this place on your own, the space inside the chest. Let your attention just rest there for a moment. And then the second point is about 2 finger widths or an inch in front of the chest, so outside of the body now. And this one can be a little bit more difficult in a sense to find. If it's helpful for you, you can place a hand in this area and you'll notice how the exhalation out of your nose, it just gently caresses this space about an inch in front of the chest. So now we have these 2 points, inside of the chest and outside of the chest. As we inhale, I want you to bring your attention to the space inside of the chest. And as you exhale, we'll bring it to the space just outside of the chest. But as you breathe, you don't need to think about the fact that the anatomy of the body pulls the breath in through the nose and down and then back up and out through the nose. Rather, feel as though you're breathing between these sacred 2 inches. The breath just very slowly travels on an inhalation into the chest and on an exhalation outside of the chest. And if thoughts come that say this is difficult or I can't do this, notice them but pay no mind. And slowly just bring your attention back to these 2 points. Inhaling into the chest, exhaling outside of the chest. And the breath, it's just traveling back and forth between these two spaces. And spend some time here. Get very clear on these 2 points. For some, they may see them. For others, they may feel them. In whatever way that they're rising for you, just keep your attention there. This becomes kind of our focus. The simple movement of the breath between these two spaces. Again, have this curiosity, this freshness of observing. Know that as you direct your attention between these two sacred points, there's this kind of magic that's unraveling. By consciously choosing to focus our attention here, the mind is dissolving, the person is dissolving, pain and suffering are dissolving, while simultaneously the heart is growing. Our attention is strengthening. And more we're coming to know ourselves as the pure awareness, which exists in both of these places. Recognize that although inside may have more sensation than outside, both are equally appearing within you as awareness. It's not as though awareness exists inside the body and doesn't exist outside the body. Staying between these 2 points, just notice. Is it true that you find awareness both inside and outside? If it were true that you couldn't find awareness outside of the body, then how would you even be able to be aware of this second point? And slowly we can soften the movement between these two spaces and start to explore as awareness. As awareness, does the sound of this voice truly appear outside of you? Or is this voice appearing within you? Being very gentle with yourself here, knowing that if we find ourselves feeling frustrated or confused, we don't need to solve these questions or come to an answer. And if you'd like, you can always come back to these two sacred points in the chest and outside the chest. Sensation of the toes. Sensation of the toes without even the idea of what toes are. This is a learned understanding, and of course we use language to point towards this sensation of hot and cold and tingling, maybe no sensation at all in some areas. Without the memory of the shape of feet, can you even really know what the shape of your feet are through the experience of them in this moment? Again, as pure awareness, free of memory, do you really know the shape of feet or shape of body? Allow awareness to dance across the entirety of this shape that we know as body, experiencing it with a curiosity. Notice how there's some places where sensation are dense and heavy, and other places where we might not feel anything at all. Can you really feel your belly button or your teeth or the tips of your hair? Again, just resting as the witness of all of this, pure awareness. In a very quiet room, and yet there's so much happening in the realm of sensation. Allow attention to come to a specific area in the body that has sensation. Forgetting name, forgetting shape. From this place of pure perceiving, can you draw an outline around this sensation? Can you trace it and clearly distinguish the places where sensations start and stop? Or is it more that these sensations are alive? Spontaneously erupting, increasing, and quieting. You, pure awareness, are like a vast ocean. Each sensation a tiny wave, rising out of the silent stillness of the ocean, coming to a crescendo, and then slowly falling away. Dropping the mind, dropping the mind, dropping the mind. Empty, empty, empty. Pure awareness, experiencing sensation. No good, no bad, no right, no wrong. Innocence. Little bubbles of experience. They say that when a movement happens in the body, the movement begins before the area of the brain starts to fire neurons. This indicates to us that although we may think that we are moving the body, that the body itself is spontaneously moving, and then thought happens, then story follows, then ideas and thoughts and personal beliefs come. I want to invite you to rest in that space of non-doing while you just slowly experience your fingers. Maybe very soft and slow movements at first. Maybe no movements at all. Maybe suddenly the toes actually want to move. But stay in this place of just observing body, observing form, without identifying. Notice how body naturally has its own ways that it wants to squirm and express, and these movements can become larger or stay small. Maybe we don't feel the move at all, then there's nothing wrong with that. But dropping any ideas of right movement and wrong movement, the body has its own way of moving as awareness when it's not hindered by the mind. And sometimes this might look like a dance, and sometimes it might look very strange. Noticing the breath in the body. Maybe using fingertips to explore so-called fabric. Maybe the mouth, even, it has something it wants to do or a way it wants to move. We can move without intention, and yet at the same time, the body, it just all of a sudden may pull you as awareness in an area. The body as awareness, moving in awareness. On the head can rock from side to side. Maybe the body wants to roll or stretch. And we're not trying to make the movements look any particular way. Just notice as you stay as pure awareness. The body has its own natural way of moving, and what's really fascinating is a lot of the time these movements are incredibly healing on a physical level, an emotional level, on a mental level, because the power to heal is inside of us, not inside of us as a body or a mind, but inside of us as the universe, us as consciousness. Spreading the toes, experience your elbows. Let the breath be this connection between awareness and body, mind and movement. Movements, of course, in the beginning it's very nice to move slow, but we don't have to move slow to stay as awareness. Explore how there is no movement you can make that will stop awareness. It's quite fascinating how we can have this idea that we need to be slow and mindful in order to be aware. And yet, fast movement is only possible because of awareness as well. So we can shake, we can breathe, free the body of the mind's hold on it. We might need to shake that out, we might need to stay still, we might need to twitch and move the face in weird ways, but continue to just be the observer. There's nothing you're trying to achieve here. There's no goal. There's no way that you can do this better than somebody else. And we're not trying to get anywhere either. We're just fully here right now. We can massage with the hands. We can bring tension and relaxation. As much as possible, we keep our eyes closed. Notice if there's any places that you're shying away from. Is there a particular area that's trying to redirect our attention? See if you can move towards those places that are resisting. Breathing into those places of resistance. It's okay. With movement may come emotion and thought. There's years of holding in the body. There's years of fighting. There's years of pushing. And And again, we're not trying to make it look pretty. We don't need to hold ourselves inside of a box here. Pain is good. Pleasure is good. There's nothing that's not welcome here. As awareness, we're open to all that arises. As awareness, we have no preference. As awareness, we are free of control. Notice those places you may still be holding the stories of yesterday. We're not trying to make any emotion come, any thoughts come. Maybe you can be completely empty still here. Completely empty, watching movement arise in body, in mind, in emotion, in energy. And if you find yourself getting carried away with an emotion or a story of a liking or a not liking, then you can come back to the stillness if that helps. Reestablish yourself as a pure perceiver. And then maybe spontaneously something will move again. Where are you right now? Can you find yourself? Are you existing as one single thing? Is there one point or place you can point to and say, this is me right now? Or is it possible you're existing in all spaces, all places? There's just a density of movement and matter here. A density appearing in awareness. A density we mistook as ourselves. And now we're realizing is just a pure experience, a happening, a beingness, an unfolding of life. The mind told us that we had control. The mind told us that there was a right way and a wrong way. And yet here we're finding the beauty and the freedom in being here as both the emptiness and the fullness of this moment. Ah. Ah. Oh. Are the places that the body's still holding a person? Are there ways that the story of me are unfolding? Are you moving within a pattern of the person? Or are you able to just allow the body to spontaneously express? Actually, to not even express, to just be. The expression often has an intention, a drive, a purpose, but here we're empty of all of that. We're emptiness dancing. We're emptiness dancing with no structure. I am this and that. I am the vast, empty spaciousness. But I'm also the form, rising, coming to a crescendo and then falling back away into silence. And slowly, in your own way, in no kind of traditional form, just find a comfortable place where the stillness can slowly subside. Doesn't need to be where you started. It doesn't need to be upright. It doesn't need to be formal, as I say. Just allow the body to come into its own yantra, its own mudra, its own place of being. Observing sensation in the fingers and the toes, in the belly and the back. Sensation of lips, eyes. Tiny vibrations glistening in the sea of awareness, the ocean of you. Noticing the breath. The sound of this voice, both equally appearing in awareness, made up of nothing other than awareness. 'Tis. 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 sound of the birds, the sound of silence, equally appearing within awareness. Bringing the attention down into the area of the chest. Allowing the breath to come back to this gentle sway between inside and outside. And recognizing that there is no inside or outside. Both are appearing in you equally as awareness. Rest here, knowing yourself as nothing more than the spaciousness within which all things appear.